Please give me a Tupac movie just as good. What's going on, guys? Welcome to Think About It Reviews. And whew, straight out of Compton. You know what we're talking about. So we're talking about Straight Out of Compton. I saw this movie a while back ago, but I barely just uploaded. But man, did I enjoy this film a lot. Now, this is directed by F. Gary Gray. It's produced by Ice Cube, of course, and then also produced by Dr. Dre. But this is more of Ice Cube's version. You got to realize that. This is more of Ice Cube's, telling of the story. Now, this is starring Oshia Jackson Jr., which is Ice Cube's son, Corey Hawkins, Jason Mitchell, Paul Giamatti, Aldous Hodge, and Neil Brown Jr. Now, I'm gonna let you know right away. This is the Eazy-E, Dr. Dre, and Ice Cube show. This is their movie. I mean, DJ Yella, MC Ren, they kind of get screwed over. They're not really in the spotlight. So this is really their film, and it's a studio film. So you would think that would happen. Now you got to realize, man, NWA, of course, if you guys don't realize it, is a rap group. But they're more than a rap group. They had a political stance, and they just had an attitude. They are the influence. They're the ones that really started that gangsta mentality, the gangsta rap movement. But they also had a message, which was police brutality. Where they were from was Compton. Now, these are the underdogs. These are really the underdogs, really triumphing and really just making a name for themselves. And there's so much talent here. Look what they are. Look where the surviving members are today. Well, look where two of the surviving members are today. Well, MC Ren and DJ Yella, you can say their career's not that. Yeah. Well, they still do stuff. But anyway, what we do get is, in this film, we do get the introduction of how NWA, of course, is established, which is kind of crazy because Dr. Dre, he was in a Wrecking Crew, and they actually have that in here, which I was shocked. And then we get, the rise, the fame, and then the stands, and then the downfall. And the downfall really starts with Eazy-E, and then of course with Jerry Heller. I gotta say, man, as much as I thought these guys don't look like their counterpart, even though Ice Cube's son though looks like him, I think once he gets that haircut, but he really does look like him and sound like him, and he does it. Let me get there. These guys really made me just not question that anymore, because the casting is so good. The chemistry in this film with these actors is so good. Everybody, I thought Jason Mitchell was the heart of this film. I thought Corey Hawkins really just brought something there. He's the one that really you're interested in Dre, even though every time I saw him, like, he did not look like Dr. Dre. However, he really did bring some not emotion. He brought an emotional impact, and he really brought. He really just presented, like, made me not think that, oh, you don't look like Dre. He really just, his performance really made me just not think that at all. He really just did a phenomenal job. Excuse me. Oshia Jackson, Ice Cube's son. Man, this guy was great. This guy, I think, was the star of the film. He really, I didn't think this guy could act. I didn't think Ice Cube's sons can act, but he had to audition like everybody else, and boy, did he nail it. He made me believe, he was Ice Cube for a minute. I mean, he made me, well, not really, but he really just got me invested in this film because of everything that was going on also with NWA, with the Ice Cube situation, and how everybody really knows how, Jerry kind of screwed everybody freaking over. Now Jerry Heller, Paul Giamatti, when he comes in, I was like, he's not that great. But then he just really I think Paul Giamatti gets better and better as the film goes, and I thought Paul Giamatti did a great job in really showcasing Jerry Heller, and not only the bad side but also the good side. In this film, there's not one way or another. There's not a one-sided thing. There's there's a good side and there's a bad side. You see every aspect of these characters. You see their good side, you see their bad side, you see their emotional side, you see, all that come together, and I thought that was great. Now, like I said, MC Ran and DJ Yella, they don't really get too much screen time. So, but they do work around in the group where like I said, it's hard because they're not really kind of in it, which is kind of sucks because you only have those really three: Ice Cube, Dr. Dre, and Eazy-E. Well, they're in it, but now what works for this film is that chemistry, is the acting. I think the acting really brings this film up. But not only that, unlike all the other kind of biopics, I mean, this is our first kind of 90s, somewhat 80s, like kind of gangsta rap biopic. I mean, we had Notorious, but Notorious kind of fell apart. Like it just wasn't as good of a film. But this just takes it a step further. This is what I wanted. Looking at the trailer and stuff, the cinematography, the direction, the freaking the pace. It's a long movie, but the tone of the film, this is what I wanted in my NWA movie. It looks great, it sounds great, it's acted great. I mean, really, some of the moments, the cinematography, I think, is just really well established. It really feels like you're watching something that has been just made with love. Now, there is some faults. I gotta say, it is freaking long, but you do need a lot in here, to basically, there's a lot of story to tell. There's some moments though where I think you didn't necessarily need, like there's one point with Dre in a car chase sequence that it just seems like it was just thrown in there, which I didn't really like. I didn't really need that shit. And then there's also certain things that are missing from the film. We know that Dr. Dre was abusive to his ex-wife, I believe. I think it was ex-wife. He was a very abusive man, and he's not the goody two shoes that he's portrayed in here. They didn't really focus on that, and then they didn't most of the time when I was watching this film I was like, what is real and what is not, because there are certain moments like where Ice Cube and Eazy-E meet up after their beef, and it feels like a little too, hunky-dory, kind of too friendly at that case. Because there's a lot of things of, the history where, all in all, they didn't show up to the funeral. Dr. Dre and Ice Cube did not show up to the funeral, and that kind of questions that as well. And then they kind of they say they made amends, but they were there too late. So how much was it kind of presented as kind of a cookie cutter kind of situation there? I wanted, there's a lot of things going on there. But I will say they introduced a lot of West Coast icons like Snoop Dogg, which was bad. It was bad. I was like, this guy came in here, and I was like, this is not Snoop Dogg. Honestly, I'd rather have the real Snoop Dogg come in here and play his part. But they did my boy Tupac justice. He does make a little appearance, and that's another thing I want to say. Before I get there, it's a step up from Notorious. Was like, why do they have Anthony Mackie as Tupac? This guy actually kind of looked like Tupac. He sounded like Tupac. Yeah, it's definitely a step up. They got Tupac right. I gotta say though, he was feeling the beat from California Love, like Dr. Dre. It seemed like Dr. Dre gave it to him, but in all honesty, Suge Knight did say, and I think I believe Suge Knight's story. Other than that Dr. Dre didn't want to give him the beat. He wanted this beat for himself. He didn't want to share this beat with Tupac. So I think I can see that happening. I gotta say, Suge Knight was the villain when he came in here. He definitely was the villain. He just. This guy didn't necessarily look a lot like Suge Knight, but he embodied the presence of Suge Knight. If you don't know who Suge Knight is, he's a piece of shit. That's all I gotta say. He's a piece of shit. This guy deserves to rot in jail. This guy was, if you knew anything about Death Row Records, he definitely abused. He was a bully. He's the biggest fucking bully, but not even a bully. He's a fucking piece of shit. That's all I gotta say. And I gotta say the film, as long as it was, I still really like. Man, I really just enjoyed this film. It does seem like it kind of goes from okay. There's like there's like two films, spliced into one. It feels that way because one, we have NWA and the riots and the police brutality, which I thought they would cover a little bit more. And the police they're like they're like mustache twirling villains. Now, me coming from Santa Maria and stuff, we there's a lot of police things going on here that we question, but I never been a part of that. I never had to deal with that, so I don't know. That my experience, I don't know, but I do know that what NWA, what all these guys have been through, man, they've been through. I mean, they were in Compton. Compton was such in a bad state in the '90s and in those '80s. It was bad, and it's still. I don't know if it's still pretty bad. I don't live out there, but it was bad. It's bad. When you live in that environment where you have racism going on, it's always going to be bad. So that was. It was a little kind of like, mustache twirling, like, the cops could have been a little bit more, I don't know, it just seems like it could have been a little bit more like believable when they were doing their brutality, because I felt like it definitely was, just, it felt kind of cartoonish a little bit. But all in all, I gotta say this film was really, really just handled so well. You could see the love they put into it. I think this is one of the best biopics. NWA definitely. There's a lot of stuff that's been left out, but you can only cover so much. This is really Ice Cube's vision, and the ups and downs, the rise and falls, just everything about this film. Especially, there's some moments that hit you, like really hit you, that kind of gets you emotional sometimes, and I was kind of shocked by that. And it does. There's I think there was two moments in this film where I was like, damn, I'm kind of getting choked up a little bit. It definitely really gives you so much emotion. It's a movie experience. It's definitely a movie experience that I just absolutely love. This is probably one of the best movies of 2015. I don't know if it cracks my top 5 still. I think it might, because I really did enjoy this film. Like I said, there's some problems with it, but all in all, experience wise, enjoyment wise, I thought this was great. I thought this was handled very well. It just blew my expectations on how much it was handled well. And if you haven't seen Straight Outta Compton, you should go check it out. If you love NWA, if you love just hip hop, if you love rap, if you love the history of rap, if you don't know who NWA is, go pick up a CD. That time, it definitely was much rawer. The instrumentals were not trying to get you, dancing and grooving. It really was more of, lyrical and just more of a technician type of feel to it. Because when these guys rap, what these guys were saying, these lyrical, Ice Cube wrote all these lyrics. So did I believe MC Ren. For NWA, and it does hit. You gotta say, it makes you appreciate NWA and these guys even more. It definitely brings you back to nostalgia feeling. So I recommend NWA, Straight Outta Compton. Go check it out. Thank you guys for listening. If you haven't already, comment. I'll answer your questions. Like the video if you like it, and subscribe. And that's it. So grab a tick, grab a seat. Make sure you got some good popcorn to eat. See you at the cinema, guys.